Hey, I'm Beartech, and today I'd like to talk to you about our free-to-play Lord and Savior, the Crescent Pike.
Get strong.
miHoYo has handed free-to-play players a bone with the Crescent Pike. The power of the Crescent Pike is comparable with, and actually even stronger than the 5-star polearms out at the time of this video. Let's go over what makes the Crescent Pike so crazy. Pros: its passive is completely broken on fast attackers, which is all spear users. It can have basically 100% uptime on its passive. It's a 4-star weapon, not a 3-star weapon. It's craftable. It has percentage physical secondary stat. We'll talk about why this is an advantage shortly. Cons: it's not a 5-star weapon. By this I mean it doesn't have 5-star base attack. It's craftable. If you never get a prototype drop from bosses, you'll never get to refine it. It doesn't have a crit stat as its secondary stat. It is less effective with elemental builds. Okay, so now I want to zoom in on the aspects and interactions that make this weapon so strong, and explain to you just why I believe that this weapon is S tier. As usual, if you don't care for the explanations here, feel free to skip to the conclusion. To begin with, you can see that my Crescent Pike is Refined 3. It does 30% of Xiang's attack damage per hit. Note that Refine 1 begins at 20% attack damage. 20% doesn't seem like much, but remember that it's not 20% increase in damage. It's an extra attack that does 20% of your attack stat as damage. That means that it increases your damage by a large margin because Xiang's first hit of her normal combo will do 61% skill damage. Not only this, but it procs on every single attack in the normal attack combo chain. That's a massive amount of added damage. So in theory, my Crescent Pike should add a whole 50% to my Xiang's damage output when it procs. I say this because at Refined 3 it's 30%, and my Xiang's first attack skill percentage is 61%. Sounds too good to be true, right? As you can see here, Xiang's first hit crits for 519 damage on the Ruin Guard, and the Crescent Pike extra proc crits for 255 damage. That's pretty much the 50% extra damage, as we guessed. And yes, it can crit, and the crits scale off your character's crit stats. Not only this, but have a quick look at Xiang's normal combo. Every single hit procs the Crescent Pike passive. That's insane. So moving on to the next part. In this clip, have a look at how Xiang gains an orb from Guoba and is able to continue vomiting out damage numbers. Does this mean that all spear users can be so broken? Maybe, because have a look at this. It doesn't matter what elemental particle is acquired, Xiang is still able to trigger the Crescent Pike passive from other elemental damage types other than her own. This means you can potentially build a team around a Crescent Pike user and assist them by feeding them elemental particles constantly to maintain its passive's uptime. These two aspects alone are enough to make the Crescent Pike really, really strong. But this is supplemented by its 4-star weapon base attack. Yes, it would be better if it was a 5-star, as well as the fact that it has physical percentage substat. This makes the Crescent Pike good for an elemental build on a spear user, but unbelievably good for a physical damage carry build due to the fact that your percentage physical damage will scale the Crescent Pike proc damage too. Note that these proc effects aren't scaled by normal or charged attack damage bonuses. These only buff the actual attack made by the character. If you want to know more about how damage scaling and damage calculations work, you can check out my previous videos on damage calculation for an explanation. Now, the only real downsides to this weapon are what I mentioned before. It's not a 5-star weapon, meaning that it will suffer from some loss of base attack. It's a craftable weapon, which means that to refine it further, you'll need to get lucky and get prototype drops from weekly bosses. This is better than having to roll the gacha for copies if you're free to play though. It doesn't have a crit stat as a substat. This is my preference for scaling damage in the late game since there's more damage potential with the right artifacts. and elemental builds won't generally gain as much benefit from the proc due to the fact that they'll be focused on scaling elemental damage rather than the physical proc damage. So in summary, the Crescent Pike is a free-to-play friendly weapon that is so strong that it can turn spear users from a support to damage dealer because of its internal synergy. It provides a weapon effect that scales and is more effective the faster your character attacks, independent of their skill damage. Its secondary stat further increases this damage output by scaling the proc effect because it is a physical damage that can also crit. With a source of constant elemental particles, a character using this weapon can maintain close to, if not 100% uptime on the passive. This is contrasted with other weapons which have harder to satisfy proc effect conditions or ramp up times. Not only this, but the weapon itself at Refine 1 is one of the most accessible weapons in the game because it's craftable and materials are available from the Sigil shop. What do you think of the Crescent Pike? Are you ready to turn your upcoming Zhongli from Geo support bot to damage carry? I know I am. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see some more stuff. Another video always means another shameless plug, so come hang out with me at twitch.tv/bear_tech. Thanks for watching, take care, and take it easy.